Sounds good.
Zidane Danny, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Nerd Chat here on Electro Ninja's Lab. I am here with my fellow host,
I'm Jack.
and Joker is going somewhere. So
He's still on vacation, so that's all right.
he's on vacation. So yeah,
Good for him. He deserves it.
yeah. But yeah. So today's discussion, you may be looking at the picture and being like, "The fuck is this?" This is Jack's picture of some of the greatest characters in all of media. That of the cast of the Cerulean Sea.
Yes.
What's the
The
what's
house
the
in the Cerulean Sea.
yes, house on the Cerulean Sea, or on whatever it is,
In the Cerulean Sea.
in the Cerulean Sea. Thank you. Um, so yeah, um, so both of us have read this. Joker has not. It is a very fun book. And basically, it is a story about weird kids.
It is, and it's an allegory for really the reality that there's so much stigma in the world to people who are different.
Yeah.
In this world, in the house in the Cerulean Sea, in this world that T.J. Klune has created, magical and mythical beings exist. So they call them magical youth or magical adults. And unfortunately, they are pretty well ostracized.
Yeah.
There is two parts of government. One is called Daikami and one is called Daikama. And they are both considered, there's the department in charge of magical youth or department in charge of magical adults. And frankly, they're not doing great. And Linus begins to realize that. That's part of the whole story, is that Linus begins to realize when he goes to the house in the Cerulean Sea that maybe this is not an effective system.
Yeah. And he's a social worker, basically.
He is. He's a social worker. He's a case manager for these children. So he makes sure that they get the care they need. But previously to this, he has met almost exclusively children who can do things but are human. So they can do things like maybe they have telekinesis or they can, shapeshift, but they're generally human.
Yep.
And then he gets to the house in the Cerulean Sea, and the first thing he sees in his file is the literal Antichrist.
Yep.
And he's like, "Oh fuck," and literally faints dead away. So like,
Yep.
Linus doesn't start out as a character that I think anybody would really admire.
No. Although I will say
out
this.
as just a dude.
Yeah. Although I will say this, they do mention that a lot of the different places that he has been to in the past have been not great, including one where apparently it's like one of the person in charge of the house was actually planning on sacrificing the children.
Which... Oh yes, I remember that one. He did do his job, and he honestly, when he says that he cares about the kids, I believe that. Like, he does care, he just doesn't know how to care.
Yeah.
He just thinks, I'm just doing my job, and he didn't really see them as people necessarily. He saw them as like animals to manage. He didn't necessarily put them in the category of like, these are tiny humans that I'm dealing with.
Yeah, and I think part of that I think
is that the non-human children he met ended up humanizing his view of them.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. But also another thing is that this is the longest that he has ever been around a specific family,
that's true.
So pretty much all of the other times that he has gone to these to be a caseworker, they've been very short visits.
Been like a week.
Maybe. Yeah. Like a week at most.
Yeah, he's never been there for long periods.
Yeah. Although I will say it's interesting to see that even like after a week, he's already loving the kids.
Right, like they just worm their little way in art.
Yep. Like obviously each of them has their own little issues and stuff that he needs to work with them through and stuff like that and figure out.
Yeah.
And like each of the kids is different, and it's kind of interesting. And the two kids that look the most human are also
Or
like some of
believe.
the weirdest of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously Lucy looks like a normal kid, but literally, yeah, Antichrist.
Yeah.
Um, and then the oldest, well, technically oldest. It's complicated. Um, ages are
No, he's
complicated.
oldest.
Well, he's oldest in terms of the kid, in
Age.
age
He's
length.
not the one who's been there the longest.
Yeah. Um, well, technically the oldest is what's her name? The dwarf.
Speed.
Or no, sorry.
Oh, Talia.
Yeah. Yeah, Tali is like 200, I think they said. But
It's like
of
230. But hang on, let me look. I have the book right here.
yeah. But like obviously the for gnomes it's that's like pretty young still. Um it's hard to
Let's
exactly describe say what I'm trying to say, but yeah. He's the oldest respectively for what is considered an adult by their specific species. Um
let's see.
and he turns into a Pomeranian, so there's that. He's basically a
He
werewolf.
does do that.
I love that he's basically just a werewolf, but with a Pomeranian.
I'm
So,
263 years old, and gnomes don't reach an age of maturity until they're 500. You may think me a fool, but that would be a mistake.
yep. Which, honestly, speaking of, that is such an
Whatever.
it's always interesting to me, having books and shows and stuff where there is a character who reaches maturity much later in their lifespan, and it always makes me wonder, like, that must suck. Like,
Right? Like, she's gonna be a child when Arthur dies.
yeah. Well, maybe not because Arthur is a phoenix, so he may just come back to
Okay,
life.
well, when Linus dies.
Well, yeah, when Linus dies, which, yeah, which I
That's
guess
kind of
we
sad.
probably should have said spoiler warning ahead because yeah, Arthur is a phoenix, and he that is like the last thing that you find out. Um, but he's also like, there's
Well, if you
hints.
recall, he finds it out actually, relatively not too early on, but it's not the exact end because they give him the file as blackmail.
Yeah, that is true. Although, there were hints like a while ago that
Yeah, he was something. You
he
didn't
was
know
something.
what per se, but you knew he was something because there was Linus was noticing things about him, like he can teleport
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe it's just he flies, but I don't
or
know.
that. Yeah, but he moves quickly. He can
He
get
moves
places quickly.
quickly, yeah, for sure. And also that he's very observant and knows a lot of things. I was kind of thinking at first that maybe he was like, basically he was able to expand his mind and basically watch over the entire island without moving.
It's possibly that, or I think he might just have like eagle ears and eyes.
Yeah,
You know, like I
I
think
think
he
that's the
might.
more accurate thing now. But like when I first started reading it, I was like, okay, clearly he's able to know. Maybe he's like some sort of psychic or something like that. Because honestly, I wasn't expecting him to be um literally something that can transform into a full blown phoenix.
Right.
Um, which fair. Also speaking of which, um, you and I have very different interpretations of what Theodore looks like. Granted, most of my reasons for that is because when I think wyvern, instead of thinking the dragon for some reason, I usually will think of the creature from World of Warcraft.
Which is different. But what they're
Very
talking about
different,
is a dragon that doesn't have front legs, basically.
pretty much.
It's kind
Yeah,
of like a bat dragon.
yeah. Um, for whatever reason, I was like thinking, I saw him as a bit more humanoid, not necessarily like not full blown dragon. Like I still saw like a few scales in my mind and stuff like that, but not
Oh
like
no, this I mean, they describe him like he is a fucking dragon.
yeah,
You know, like he if you read the details on him, like he has tiny little back legs and he hops around like a bird and he has to learn how to walk because Arthur wants him to and like all this stuff and you get the idea that his wings are not only are they annoying, but they're fucking huge. Like he is little and his wings are growing faster than him. Like
yeah,
he's clumsy because he's in his awkward phase. Like that's interesting to me.
yeah, yeah. That's fair. Like I said, I'm most of I can still see like a lot of these things, and I can see both perspectives, both your interpretation of what he looks like as well as my interpretation. Um,
Yeah.
like basically, like I still see the the giant bat wings, tiny legs, all that jazz. But it's a little bit more humanoid. It's hard to describe it, and since I'm still learning really to on how to
Draw.
draw, it's like it's pretty hard for me to convert that into a picture. But
Yeah.
I think to me, it's kind of a more humanish, but also like version of basically the Wyvern from World of Warcraft.
Kind of
Which,
like a dragonborn,
yeah, kind of,
but
sort of.
small.
Yeah,
But
kind of,
small
sort
and
of.
wyverny.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Um, Also less scales. I like for whatever reason as well. I just when I picture his face, for whatever reason, I'm
Well,
like seeing it more cat-like. I don't know why.
but remember, they literally said that when he spread out his wings, it sounded like coins.
Yeah,
So he has the scales.
yeah, for sure. Like I said, most of my my images is mostly because of the fact that when I first heard the word wyvern, it was because of World of Warcraft.
There it is.
Not
Yeah, no, I get that. That makes sense.
yeah, it's not necessary. I know that it's not what
It's
he
kind of
looks
like if the
like.
first time you ever heard the word monster was where the wild things are.
Yeah, so
Like that's not a great representation of monsters because they're friendly,
yeah,
ish.
yeah, and same thing goes for like if Monsters Inc.
That too. Yeah.
But yeah, so then we should probably also talk about Chauncey.
Chauncey is amazing, and honestly, I think he's probably the most normal, like mentally.
Yeah,
Like he's
that
the
that
he's
is
the one he has a clear dream. He wants to do a thing, and it's like something that's totally feasible if there
yeah,
wasn't so much goddamn stigma. But
yeah,
other than that, like the rest of them are like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. And la, 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 la. Nah, he has a perfect idea. He knows exactly what he wants in life.
yep,
Drop it, Carmen. Drop.
yep, and he wants to be a he wants to be a bellhop. Period. And honestly, love him for it. He's like, granted, he does say that they do say that he does hide under beds because he's just kind of got that stigmatization, and people have constantly told him that, which sucks for him. And all of these kids do have a lot of trauma. Like, I think the ones with the least trauma would probably be Faye and what's her name? I keep blanking on the names. I am really bad at names. Well, actually, well, Theodore kind of doesn't have that much trauma either. But I don't know. Did you get muted again? You got muted again. I swear that something is weird with your frickin' Discord. I don't know why it just mutes you all of a sudden.
Yeah, me neither. That's just fucking weird. Um,
Anyways, I'm assuming you were saying
anyways,
something.
I think I think Theodore does have trauma. We just don't see it as much because he's nonverbal.
Yeah. And it also makes me wonder if maybe Theodore is gonna at some point speak English or whatever
I
language
don't
that you're
know.
reading it in. I don't know if it's like it might not be something that is possible for wyverns. Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
So
It's hard to.
I'm not certain which one I would prefer. Um, if it is something along the lines of he eventually is able to speak English and it's basically that he's getting over something, then I'm glad that that he was able to get over it. But I'm not certain exactly.
Alternatively, it could just be like Talia, who speaks a different language, and he just doesn't have the capacity to learn, or the physical ability, because maybe his, I don't know, maybe his vocal cords are different. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, why can't a dog learn English?
because their vocal cords are different. Yeah, that's
Because their
exactly my
vocal
point.
cords are different. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
But they
and
seem to understand his chirps well enough that I feel like,
I don't think it's
he probably doesn't
necessary.
have to. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, I think Faye and Talia are probably the ones with the least trauma. But
Yeah.
obviously, Talia could absolutely have a lot with over 200 years of life.
Yeah. Hard to say what she's been through.
Yeah.
However, she does seem to deal with it the best.
Yep.
Because she's very much aware that she's not actually going to kill anybody. She just talks about wanting to put them in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's just like trying to plant them more often. But
Yeah, like
I don't
because
know.
you'll see, like she doesn't even want to do the murder. She wants Lucy to kill them, and then she can friggin' bury them. Is bizarre, and we know that Lucy's not going to, because at his core, he's a good person.
Yeah.
Even if, I mean, I will say my favorite thing ever is when they took him into the back room and he was like, "They tried to exorcise me, so I threw him against a wall."
And he still didn't kill him. But
Right?
yeah. And
And
honestly,
I
he
love
barely
Helen.
he just knocked him out, and then
He did.
he becomes a dick. But well, he was already a dick, but that's beside the point. Um,
Yeah. Oh, but it's
obviously,
funny
this
because like
character was just
Helen doesn't have time for any of their bullshit. Like, she is like, I am not putting up with your shit. She does not have time for this. She is like, why the fuck are you this way? Stop being a goddamn bigot. Like, these are children. Stop being this way. And it's that guy who got thrown against the wall. He's wearing a fucking neck brace, and she's like, "You got that out of my closet, bitch." Like, that was so funny.
Yeah, like he wasn't even really injured. He was just faking it for attention.
No, he was just being a twat. Like,
Yeah.
why do you have airplane ears?
Oh, the dog or
Cat.
okay. See, that's the problem. Is
It's
that
usually a sign of them being upset.
oh no.
You're okay. It's alright, I'm just gonna pet him until he bites my foot.
Okay.
He's good.
but
He's
yeah,
good.
but yeah. So
Belly rub.
I'm kind of wondering, like, speaking of which, if since it is called Beyond the Cerulean Sea,
Somewhere beyond the sea.
somewhere beyond the sea, um, it makes me wonder if
Okay,
they're gonna go
okay.
if they're gonna go on like an adventure elsewhere from the island.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Um,
Somewhere beyond the sea. It also could refer to the fact that they get a new child who comes from beyond the sea.
that could also be, yeah.
But I
Uh,
don't know. I'm excited to see. I don't want to make too many predictions because I feel like if I make predictions, then I'm going to be disappointed. Whereas if I just let it happen, I'm going to be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
When does
Um,
that one come out again? It's
uh,
September 10th, right?
yeah, I think so.
I should be able to check because I pre-ordered it on Amazon. But I'm also going to go to Barnes& and Noble and get the special edition because that's who I am as a person.
Fair enough. Speaking of which, I do need to get the physical copy. I've obviously only listened to the audiobook, so
Right.
I will need to go and get the physical copy. Although I am wondering, if they like, I'm kind of hoping that this is put with the children's books because it's such a good story
It's
for
not.
kids.
It hangs out in the fantasy
Okay,
at Barnes& and Noble anyway.
yeah, like
You'll
he
see.
try like it sounds like they're trying to keep the story mostly like still mostly child friendly, but
It's not that it's written for children. It's that it's written. He writes in such a way that he doesn't need to have sex and gore and things like that because he just tells a story. He
yeah.
does the same thing in the book I'm reading of his now called Under the Whispering Door,
Mm.
where I mean It's funny because in House in Cerulean Sea, his pace is quite quick. There is a lot happening all the time,
Yeah.
and the pace is pretty fast, and there's stuff happening all the time. Whereas House in the or Under the Whispering Door is much, 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 much slower. Like let's see, I'm about halfway through, and it's been a week
Okay. Yeah. So
or 2 weeks. Excuse me, it's been 2 weeks,
I'm kind of wondering then
and
if Somewhere Beyond the Cerulean Sea is going to be if that one's going to be slower then, because this one was, yeah, it was really fast, and it was like kind of just like, the fuck, we're already through the week. Okay.
right? Like, oh, the week is over. Oh, the second week is over. Oh, the third week is. Oh, the fourth week. Oh, why is he back in London?
Was he in
Right?
London?
Like that was. Yeah,
I thought it was just like some random city, like he kind of created the world or something.
it's London.
Okay.
I mean, it's not actually. I don't think, but it's London.
Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, he so it's English. So it's England.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. But yeah. Also, speaking of, I'm kind of glad that he did go back for a little bit, because he did basically he got a lot of those records and was able.
That's true. I know that was the best part. Is he was like, "Yeah, I'm back here, but fuck this." So he
Yeah.
just takes all the fucking files. I love it. That was the best thing ever. Is he's like smuggling out the files so that he can fucking save these kids. Oh my gosh! And how fast he wanted to adopt David too. He was like, "All right, give me the Yeti." And they were like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, exactly. Like honestly, it kind of makes me wonder if one thing that they might do is they might try to get they might adopt more of the more kids than that.
That's
Um,
what I was thinking. I was like, maybe Beyond the Cerulean, maybe Beyond Somewhere Beyond the Sea is referring to the fact that they're just like hoarding children now.
that would
Not
be
in like a
funny.
horrible sense of like hoarding children, but in the sense that they're like rescuing all of these kids.
Yeah.
And then there's gonna be this old gay couple who has like 36 kids.
Oh yeah. That would be funny. Although
It'd be so good.
although the problem with that is that there's there's only the two houses, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the guest house is pretty small. So it's
Yeah.
like you could put one person in there.
I would
Um,
imagine they give that to Sal.
I think so too. I think that Sal's gonna since he is the oldest and he's technically about to age out. They'll give him the guest house, and Lucy will get his own room, and that will be Sal's old
Mm-hmm.
room.
Yeah.
Um, because Lucy is getting better, and he's getting older, and sleeping in the closet is eventually gonna get old.
Well, he's eventually gonna get too big for it too.
Yeah. So I think so. I do think that most likely, obviously, I think they're gonna need to do a lot of edits to the basement, because that they did want to, because obviously it needs to be one, able to keep the Yeti cool, and then
Yeah.
yeah. Also, I love that when they do mention the Yeti, the first thing that Linus mentions is the eyes, not anything else.
Yeah. No, he says. Uh. Whoop. A Yeti, Linus said in awe. He started the photo in Arthur's hand. It was a smiling boy covered in thick white hair, but it was his eyes that Linus noticed more than anything. They were cerulean. We'll take him, Linus said immediately. Whenever he's ready. Can we get him today? Where is he? Does he have much? Oh, we'll have to figure out where he should sleep. The guest house might work, but wait, will he be all right there? Won't he like the cold more than anything? I suppose we can work something out. Anything we can do to make him comfortable. He felt Arthur squeeze his hand. He looked down. Gone off, have I?
Oh, that is so sweet. Also,
Honestly, true.
also Helen and Zoe. Also, that's also really.
Adorable.
I'm
Yes,
hoping that we get
could
to see
not
more
be
from them.
more excited about that. Also, the fact that there is not a single straight adult in these children's lives cracks me up. Like, they are just being raised by a bunch of queers, and I love it.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, I am kind of wondering if we will, if they might they might have someone, like some straight couple at some point, kind of be involved with them, but I'm not certain exactly. Like, I don't know. I don't think that it's gonna happen. I'm just thinking that it's a possibility. Because there's a lot of characters already. I can't imagine them putting too many more. Like maybe some more of the kids. Um, especially since but also I think that they're going to be working with other um like every now and again Linus is going to go out and he's basically going to go to other homes and basically trying to be like, okay, how can we help you to make sure that this place is safer and you're not having to deal with Daikami directly.
Well, if you remember, Daikami shut down.
Yeah. Well, they're changing, I think, right?
Well, they're rearranging. Yeah,
Yeah. So technically not shut down, but yeah.
true.
But I'm also wondering if maybe instead, one of their goals will be to take out Daikama,
Mm-hmm.
because that is also insanity. Like, what if somebody hacks into those systems, like either of those systems, that is truly evil, and they start targeting these people? That would be terrifying.
I don't know that they would necessarily do that, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't think that he would. But it is something that, needless to say, kind of worries me, but not too
Yeah.
much. I don't think that they're gonna do that. I think it's mostly gonna be like a bit more of a cute story, and we're gonna see more from the characters as they have fun, um, and maybe get to. I think it's most likely, it's mostly just gonna be getting to know the new kid. Did they give us his
Yeah.
name?
David.
David. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to say the least. Um, I'm kind of wondering if what kind of situation they're going to be tackling with David specifically, because I feel like there's going to be a lot more.
Yeah.
But also I'm kind of wondering if like obviously Sal is close to aging out. How old is he? I think he's 16 or 17.
16.
He's 16. Okay. So they could get all the way up to him being 18 in the next book.
It could have time jumped.
Well, yeah, it could. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to say the least. But also I don't imagine Sal like going off, like fully leaving the safety of the home, especially not yet, because he has a lot of trauma and he's going to have to work through that. Um I'm really hoping. What I'm really hoping is that he's going to start publishing his stories and his poems.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
I'd be so here for that.
Like, what if he comes up to Arthur and Linus and says, "Hey, I really want to publish my stories. Can you guys help me?" And they're just like, "Yes, yes, yes, yes. Here's all of the things that we're gonna get to work on this. We're gonna make sure that it's all very clear to you so you can understand everything. Blah 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 blah. We're gonna work you through this." I think that it's mostly gonna be Linus. And well, because Arthur still needs to work with Lucy a lot, but we'll see. Although he is working less with Lucy, it sounds like. So maybe they'll they'll kind of go back and forth. Like one day Linus will take care of Lucy while Arthur helps out Sal, and so on and so forth.
I could see that.
Um, obviously Zoe is constantly helping out
Fee.
Fee. Um, Helen is mostly helping out uh, Talia a lot. So that's happening. Um, I'm kind of wondering if
Mm.
I don't know. I'm wondering what exactly is going to be going on with Chauncey and Theodore, um, because I don't know. But the other kids feel like to me they're going to be getting a lot more attention. Um, so I'm wondering if maybe Chauncey and Theodore might start to feel a bit more lonely, or maybe they'll just like start hanging out a lot more. Although Theodore often hangs out with Sal, so it's hard to say.
Looking pretty good right now, aren't they?
I don't know. It's interesting to say the least, but I do think that we should probably discuss the book again, or well the sequel once it comes out, since it
Oh,
is.
definitely.
But yeah, um, I would also like us to discuss the Swifts since that's we both have the new book. Um, I'm about halfway through it, I believe, at this point. So, and I know that you can read through books fast.
True.
But yeah, and this Swifts 2 is really freaking good. I'm not gonna spoil anything because obviously, um, but it's also pretty good.
You said Earth is in it, so I'm thrilled.
Yes, they are. Um, and it's also so the other kid that's on the cover is really not that important. Like they're involved, but they're not that important yet. So I'm kind of curious if they will be, if they're gonna get more and more important. Mostly, it is Pamplemouse's sister is actually like one of the main characters of this book.
Really?
Yeah, um, it's a lot of it's basically dealing with the French side of the family, um, and how there's basically there's basically a huge conflict between the Swifts and the Martinets, however you pronounce it,
Mm.
Swift in French, and
Matinal.
huh,
Matinal.
really, okay, that's not how they pronounce it in the audiobook. I think they say Martinet.
It's well in French. It's gonna be matinal because that means quickly.
Mm. Well, it's the bird specifically, so
The
I'm not
bird.
sure. Yeah, the bird, I believe.
Which bird?
The Swift.
Oh.
So Martin. They say Martinet, I think.
That's weird. I'll have to. I mean, hang on. Well, I don't have the book with me right now.
But yeah. So there's a lot of French in the book as well, so be aware of that. You're
I mean,
gonna
I literally speak French, so
yeah. So you'll probably understand it a lot better than I will. uh, like there's a lot of things that are just kind of going over my head. Even though they explain it again often in English, but at the same time, it is complicated. Um,
Mm.
so yeah. But also, um, they're dealing with Pierrot, as in the painter and artist, I guess, and they basically both families have artwork from the artist Perot, and it's being stolen, and that's basically what the whole. They're basically trying to get the paintings back. Well, they're
Yeah.
trying to get the painting back for the Swift's painting back, and prevent the Martinez statue from being stolen.
I love this kid.
But yeah, it's really fun. But that's the basic plot of that, and it's really fun. Look forward to it when it comes out, or look forward to it when you read it. But yeah, and then obviously we've got other books coming out each month. Oh yeah. So not only are we getting Beyond the Cerulean Sea, um, we're getting the next Percy Jackson book, which I know you're behind on those, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's a yeah, you probably won't be getting caught up with that anytime soon, but I'm really excited for that. I will probably be discussing it at some point. Although I'm kind of thinking of waiting on doing like a full discussion until all 5 books are out, for the sequel to the sequel series. Um, but it Chalice of the Gods was really good, so I'm imagining that that the next one is also going to be really good. However, it is gonna be a bit before it's released. I think that is also sometime in September. So gotta read through Beyond the Cerulean Sea quickly, for me at least. As well as
No.
the Swifts too. Um, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then obviously in October we get freaking Skandar 4, which I am so ecstatic for. Um, but what kind of annoys me is that there's an event going on where if you pre-order from Waterstones, you have the chance to be to have a Zoom meeting with AF Stedman and choose a name for a unicorn.
Oh my gosh.
Right? But unfortunately, since we're here in America, we can't freaking participate.
Ah.
It's
The USA.
yeah. Maybe we should just move immediately to England.
Right? Just right now. Let's just go.
Let's just go. America's going down the dumpster. I don't know. We'll see, but I don't know. I don't think it's happening that.
Oh
quickly.
my gosh, this fucking NPC is making a bunch of vegetable puns.
Oh, fun.
Well, he's the farmer, and he starts off with, another new friend I haven't met. I foresee some good times ahead of us.
Oh my gosh,
Here
really?
he says, I said, can you teach me to farm? He says, you've come to the right place if you care at all about fresh quality produce.
What game are you playing?
Palia, whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. I don't know. But yeah. Honestly, I don't really know what else we can really discuss because I think we've basically covered everything about the Cerulean Sea.
I agree.
But you know, yeah, I'm kind of hoping that I can get through some of these the books, my backlog of audiobooks,
True.
and get through as many of those quickly before all the Cerulean Sea, and then obviously the new book. Because I also really, really need to reread Lily Quench.
True.
Yeah. Although that's a much shorter book, considering the fact that it is a
Children's book.
yeah. Also, speaking of which, I just think it's so funny that frickin' Skandar is considered a children's book. Like they put it.
I know. Like it is a children's book, but holy damn. Sometimes I read it and I'm like, that is dark as shit.
Yeah.
Damn, Stedman.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Although so is Percy Jackson. So.
That's true.
So, I don't know. To be fair, I think over time things have just kind of been like the world as a whole has kind of gotten darker.
That's true.
Like what was it? Like freaking the Swifts. Just thinking about that.
I know.
Like they're constantly saying they're cursing and stuff like that. And yeah, this is a children's book. And
Right?
and then also the discussion of eating cook. Also,
I was
speaking,
thinking the fact that for Pete's sake, the dude he died by having a statue fall on his head and just make his head go away.
yeah, that too. Speaking of which, there's a
That's the thing
character
that happened. Whoa.
in the Swifts too, who is a French character, and and they're called Gourmet,
Yeah.
and they're the cook. It made
Of
me
course.
it made me think that they might not necessarily be a Martinet specifically, but instead they will be
Like before they were adopted.
yeah, basically just like Cook. Maybe in another possibility is that the two of them are either siblings or they were once great friends.
Yeah.
Although Cook is hardly in the book, unfortunately, so we won't be able to see until probably near the end of it. She's only at the beginning, unfortunately. There is a lot of Maelstrom. There is a lot of Maelstrom. Fauna's not really in it. Flora isn't really in it either. Although she is mentioned. But yeah, most of the characters that were in like the family as a whole that we basically just got a little bit to know. Very few of them are in it. It's pretty much just the main characters that are pretty much everyone is. A lot of them are mentioned, but they're not necessarily like fully full characters or
Present
whatever.
per se. Yeah.
Yeah. Like obviously Pomplamoose is mentioned quite a bit, but not like an extreme amount.
Yeah.
It's basically like at one point the kids apologize for Pomplamoose for Pomplamoose dying, and because they feel guilty for some reason. But
yeah.
Anyways, read the Swifts. Read House on the Cerulean Sea, as well as the sequel when it comes out.
And here's another book I'm excited about that I feel like we're gonna have to read as a group too. The Whisperwicks, another YA novel, but it's a Barnes and Noble monthly pick, which is saying something. And just overall seems really cool because it's basically here. 11-year-old Benjamiah Creek believes in science and logic and the power of reason. He definitely does not believe in magic. But when he receives a mysterious doll in the mail, a doll that can transform into a bird, he is led into an impossible and most definitely magical world, Reason World. Reason World is a dangerous place, and it holds many secrets within its labyrinthine walls. Monsters lurk, hanged men stalk, and at the center of its shifting, unchartable streets lives the Minotaur, a beastly creature who is an object of fear and terror. In no time at all, Benjamiah is swept into a perilous adventure with the fierce and brilliant Isabella, a girl determined to solve the disappearance of her missing brother, who may be caught up in a decades-old conspiracy that could doom them all. Will Benjamiah ever find his way home, or will he be lost forever in the labyrinth?
What is this called again?
The Whisperwicks, The Labyrinth of Lost and Found. It's the first book of a series, they say.
Is Whisperwicks one word?
Yes.
Okay. The Labyrinth of Lost and Found. Okay. For whatever reason, they just on Audible they just put The Labyrinth of Lost and Found, but I did find it. Okay, noted. It's going on to my library.
Cool.
So I will sit down and read that at some point. It's in my backlog right now. But
nice.
Because I need to finish the Swifts and Murder on the Orient Express first. And then that'll probably be my next book, honestly. Do I want to... Well, speaking of which, read some T. Kingfisher books. They were really... the one that I think I mentioned one of their books to you. Freaking... Why am I forgetting? The name is complicated, so I'm gonna... Yeah. A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. Such a good book. And it's basically about a girl who gets... who is a wizard, who can use baking magic, and
Oh no.
she basically gets accused for murder because someone died in her house.
Oh geez.
Well, not her house, her bakery. So, yeah, very fun. I'm kind of hoping that they'll do a sequel because it was really good. But T. Kingfisher, I've looked at some. I've got another one of their books, and I'm really really excited. I think I'm gonna honestly. T. Kingfisher is probably gonna be like one of my new favorite YA authors for a bit. Obviously besides A.F. Stedman, but yeah. Speaking, but yeah, we. I'm really excited. I don't know. Granted, one thing that I will say is that the Swifts has been the Swifts 2 has been out for months over in England. I think it released in January.
What did?
The Gallery of Rogues that released
this
in
year?
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me make
Was
sure
it?
of this.
I think it was 2023.
The Swifts.
Hang on, let me find it. It's right here.
So the first book was in February of 2023.
That's what I thought.
But the Gallery of Rogues was in January of this year. So it's been out for months.
Wait, what?
In over in England.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? No, that's
Yeah.
not it, was it?
Yeah, it's been out for months over in England. Like, thank goodness that Skandar actually is practically it's practically a worldwide release. Thank God. But but yeah, that was fun. So also curious is for the Swifts, you have the soft cover as well, right?
Yes,
Okay. Except for obviously the new book
correct.
because it only has the hardcover at this point.
This is correct.
I don't know, but yeah, that's probably a good spot to end it. We said that before, but anyways, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this nerd chat. I've been Electro Ninja, he's been Jack, and this has been fun. But on
It has been, and we actually stayed on topic.
we did sorta
Go us.
go us, but on.